What do you say, everybody? 14 Guitars here. It is 15th of August, and I am on my way to Manchester. I rode, not last week, but the week before, Monday and Wednesday. I think I rode the North Loop on Monday and then the South Loop on Wednesday, and I've got a video up for the South Loop ride. It was a great ride. So I haven't been to Manchester in a little while. Real excited to get back out here after some heavy rains. As you may recall, if you've seen any of my Manchester videos, Manchester's perfect after a rain. So I can't wait to get out here and check the conditions out. Probably will ride the red, then the little green, and then the blue. So that's something like 9 miles, 2 miles, and 8 miles, something like that. I think that's what it is. Do a little warm up on the whoop-de-doos and the little sand track that they have here. They have a nice little sand track if you want to just come here and practice on a sand track. It's a lot of fun. I'm not really a track guy, so I'll ride around it to warm up my bike and get my jetting set properly, my air screw, and then I'm going to hit the trails generally. But just because I just haven't spent a lot of time on a track, I think there's a lot of fun little jumps people could do, and it's just not a track that I'm going to learn on. Anyway, I hope everybody's had a chance to get out and ride and enjoy the summer. I know that school is coming back. Maybe today in some places in South Carolina. Like sometimes they'll come back on a Wednesday or a Thursday before a full week. So I think it was something like the middle of August. We're going to start back to school here. And I hope wherever you are, you still got another week. But anyway, like I said, I hope you've enjoyed being out all summer long and hope you got in some great rides. I will post the video and let you know what the conditions are here at Manchester. My guess is that they're going to be fantastic. My dirt bike is running outstanding. I've got the suspension tuned where I want it. I did the motor swap out of there. I replaced all the bearings, front to rear, from steering stem to swing arm. Put a new gold chain on there a couple days ago. I haven't ridden on that chain yet, and not a whole lot of new stuff. Oh, a little bit of summer jetting. I changed my jet to an NEDJ. I put that on clip number 2. So normally in winter I run an NECJ on clip 3. An NEDJ is actually a half a clip richer needle than an NECJ. So I put a richer needle, but then I take the clip and move it a full clip leaner. So what I've done is I've leaned out my needle by a half a clip. And it's 85 degrees, 86 degrees. It should be fairly good conditions to run that needle. Still running a 45 Pilot and 170 main. I've got some guys on Thumper Talk trying to convince me to run a 168 main in summer. It might be the way to do it. I also have tried to run a 142. Any DJ is a fairly rich needle down low in the low RPMs. And some of the guys used to recommend trying to go to a 42, but I think that's just a little bit too lean, and I would rather have some spooge coming out my pipe and well lubricate my engine, and don't take a chance on starving the engine for lube. So I'm just running Yamaha, 2S, 2-stroke oil. So that's what we're doing today. Running my tire pressure today, 9 in the back and 11 in front. I've got a M59 in front, which I consider one of the finest front tires ever made, and a Golden Tire 333 in the back, which is a very good, has been a very good. It's the first one I've ever used, and I've enjoyed riding with it. It's a pretty good traction, good handling. It's a good tire. That's about it. If you like my videos, thumbs up. Like and subscribe if you would, please. It does the videos a lot of good for getting them out in front of other people who don't ever see them. The more my videos are liked and subscribed, the more they are show up as suggested videos in people's feeds who are interested in dirt bikes in general. Oh yeah, one more thing. If you're an older guy and you haven't been on the dirt bike in years, I'm 62 years old. Find a friend with a dirt bike. Get back out on the trails. It will change your life. It will restore your joie de vivre, you know, your love of life. It will restore your love of life. So anyway, appreciate everybody. I will talk to you in the videos, and have a great rest of your summer. Bye-bye. Oh, we got some dirt down there. Whew. That's interesting. Because I ran the carburetor dry. I think it's the best front tire made. And then I got a Golden Tire 333 on the back. It's a pretty good back tire. Pretty good back tire. Take care. I'm gonna make a little loop around the whoops. Start here. With the most from the old Wambaw hosts. They are within $2,500 of their goal for equipment. They will use that equipment for free, and they will maintain trails for us, not just in Wambaw. They'll come up here and knock down some of the crazy whoops here in Manchester. So if some of y'all have been avoiding Manchester because of the insane whoop-de-doos, put a little money in their charity. Go to Facebook, Wambaw Trail Riders, look up their charity, and just make a donation. $5, $10, $50. You know, it's a couple tanks of gas. That money will be used to make this place so much more fun to ride. And Wambaw. They live up the road from Wambaw, so they're there almost every day. They're up here riding Manchester today. If they had gear, they already would have run the trail with a harrow or something to knock down some whoops. Whew. There is a little water on the trail, but it's pretty dry. My air screw is at like 1 3/4. There's a bunch of whoops out here. Woo! Chris and Stephanie said that there's a good number of branches kind of hanging over the trail, and at least on the blue, a tree down, at least one. I don't know if there's more than one, I didn't ask them. So this place needs a little cleaned up anyway. This time of year, a lot of people will come out and ride the weekend and clean this up. So it's probably still recovering from the big storm, you know, last week. Nobody would have ridden because because we had those crazy torrential rains. I drove home. I went and rode the Virginia Creeper Trail in Damascus this weekend, Friday, Saturday, came home Sunday. And I came through some of the thickest rains I've ever been on. I've lived here in Charleston since 1981. And those rains were as bad as any I've ever been in. And quite a few bands, so you'd hit this crazy band, 10 or 15 minutes of just insanely heavy rain, people turn on their emergency lights and everything, slowing down to 30, and then it would pass, you know, between bands. It wouldn't get sunrise, but there might be a light rain, and then the next one. I think I hit probably 7 or 8 of those. Now, I said I softened up my suspension a good bit. For these whoop-de-doos at high speed, soft suspension is not as good. You get a little more bouncing around instead of bouncing off the top, you know, skimming off the top like they do in Supercross. But I'm going to continue to ride with these settings now for at least 4 or 5 rides and just see if my body will get used to it. I was able to get used to the really stiff suspension, but you know, as a test. But that really wore me out at the hare scramble. You know, we got to ride 2 hours on some spider or something in my helmet, climbing up my chin. I had the biggest walking stick, oh my gosh, today on the door of my office. Huge, 6 inches long, big fat thing. You know, not a spindly one. The stick part was maybe almost a ½ inch in diameter. All right, you kids, what's diameter? You take a circle and measure all the way across it. That's the diameter. So if you measure all the way across this body, not lengthwise, but crosswise, at its fattest point, this thing was probably a good ½ inch. Now this has become my warm-up loop, red loop. One day I'll ride the blue first and ride the red for time just to see how we do. But it's my least favorite loop, though it does have some nice long straight sections. But I like the blue, even the green with its crazy whoop-de-doos. It's insane whoop-de-doos, but it's only 2 miles. And this isn't bad, is it? So one day I'll ride this for time, but for now, it's my warm-up loop, my 4th ride since April. So the bike is just really responding well to the NEDJ needle, set to 2, 45 pilot, and leaned out to 1 3/4 turns on my air screw, and a 170 main. Listen to that, that's a beautiful sound. And it might be slightly slick out here because of these pine needles. So dry on those. Make sure the bike's underneath you when you turn. Weight your pegs so it doesn't slide out on you. Anyway, I run a number 8 slide, which I believe is a little richer than the stock, which is a number 7 slide. So the slide, even when the slide is all the way down, you still have air and fuel that flow past it. There's an opening. So it's not a solid gate in your carburetor. The slide is like a gate. And when you twist the throttle, the gate raises, slides up, and slides back down when you let the throttle off. But like I said, the way the slide is ground, there's some space at the bottom. Plus, I filed a notch in my slide, which gives you a little more gas at idle. It makes it a little easier to set idle. And this bike will idle way down, no problem. 700 or 800 RPM without any problem at all. I don't run it that low on the trail. On the trail, I think I like to run it about 1200. I think Chris and Simpson are going to catch me. They're all warmed up. We don't want that. Warmed up or not. So anyway, if you've got a thumper talk and look up Yamaha two-stroke section, there's a ton of information on what everybody uses for jetting. Alright, there's time for me to preach about goggles. That fairly large brand just bounced off my helmet right about face level. It didn't hit my goggles, but it could have. If you don't wear goggles and it hits your eyes, you risk losing one of the most precious organs on your body. I mean, if you think about it, someone who loses an eye would probably have rather lost a finger. Actually, I have lost a finger. My dog was in a fight and bit my finger off. It was just a tip. But I would definitely rather lose that than an eye. It's so debilitating. So wear your goggles, kids. Wear your gear all the time. All gear, all the time. One of the big things, if you're off the bike for a while, one of the things you lose is, I lose, quickest is leg strength over time, like leg endurance. Just wears you out, and then you gotta take a rest, like I'm doing now. I'm resting a little bit, not going as fast, sitting more than I usually would. So even if you can get out and ride 30 minutes every week, you'll have a better chance of maintaining your leg strength. You may not gain, but you'll at least maintain. Blubbery section. I think it's just a needle just off of idle. Maybe my I might be able to lean up my air screw just a little more, but I'm not going to try to. I'll take that little bit of blubber, you know, at low speed when you're not getting a lot of fuel to cool your motor. I'll take a little wetter, a little richer mixture, and live with it, rather than run, you know, right at the most lean I can get down low. just a motor at idle. If it idles lean, let's say you come to a big hill, and you just idle down the hill, and your idle is lean, and your bike's hot. Starve it of lube, and bad things happen. Yeah, Chris and Stephanie were here when I got here, already riding, which means they're riding in, 88 degrees. I got here and it was down around, 85, maybe even 84 here in the woods. So if I come back next week and those aren't cleared, I'll clear all that stuff out. Today I've got an agenda. I'm losing my sunlight. Got out a little later. I went into work about 4:45 today. I'm sorry, 4:45 to get a bunch of stuff done. I had a good day, got everything done. Then had a couple of last minute phone calls. And so instead of getting out the door at 2, it was about 3:10, 3:15. That just gives you that much more traffic trying to get up here. And then sunset up here is about 8. And if I'm gonna ride all 3 trails with maybe a little rest in between, today I'm not gonna stop and I say it almost every ride. I'm avoiding the whoop-de-doos one after another that way. So I'll go down the face of a whoop, then ride the side until I hit the next whoop, till I pass the next whoop. So down a whoop-de-doo, up the side, past the next one. So I'm really only hitting every other whoop. I'm also not hitting them directly. I'm rolling down them like that, and then down the next one. So at an angle, you're traveling slightly further, but you dramatically reduce the angle of the whoop on your suspension. Almost like you're continuously, you can imagine if you rode sideways across every whoop going down the hill like at a 40-degree angle, you would barely notice. Whereas if you hit it head on, you're going to get that suspension, compression, and rebound. And you don't take too much of a speed hit and then you don't get out of shape because you're not bouncing as bad. Most of the time when you're not tired, you can absorb a lot of that suspension trips, suspension excursions with your legs. But as you get tired or doing what I'm doing, trying to take it easy in the beginning, you don't want to get your legs tired. So just a slight angle, up, down, pass, cross, pass, cross. These aren't really good to visualize because they're winding. If we get some straight ones, I'll show you what I mean. I think you can visualize what I'm talking about. It's a little dry. Not as good as when I came here the other day when it was raining. Remember that in April? Came up here, saw the radar was going to pass, sat in my truck for 20 minutes. It rained, and the rain passed, no none behind it, and had the best conditions, with the exception of the trail, whoop-de-doos on the trail or whatever. But as far as moisture in the dirt, best conditions ever, right after that rain. And it was really nice. All right, okay, so here we go. The outside, down the face of the second one. Now, you could try to just ride the edge and not get any whoops, right, or a very few percentage of the whoop part. But when you're on the edge like that, your bike will tend to slide out from under you. Well, that tree about took my hand off the bar there. So I don't recommend, I mean, if you can do it, your bike will do it, your skill set will support it, it's awesome. You can just stay on the edge. But staying on the edge like this is harder. There's a lot more chance of your rear end sliding down a little bit if you hit the gas. And then your front end is suddenly pointing off the trail instead of down the trail. You're going to get a little more of a workout than Wambaw. Your muscles got to move a lot more. Anytime muscles move, it takes energy, and energy is burned by oxygen. Oxygen and fuel create the energy. That's why you breathe harder. That's why your heart races faster. You also create a lot of heat energy with your muscles. So then your heart has to beat even quicker to keep you cool. Soft sand. Bury that front end. Get your clutch in as you approach these sandy corners. If your clutch is not in, your bike will tend to dive. So clutch in early, slow down early, and start your acceleration a good bit sooner through the corner than when you're riding, dirt with a berm.
nights, 3 days, and a beautiful ride, and then the cost of gas and trail is free, and food. You got to eat food anyway. So maybe 350 bucks round trip, something like that. A lot of fun, and you know, permanent memories with family, memories with loved ones are the most valuable thing to me in life. And I would say for most humans, that, especially as you get older, that will probably ring true. And when you're young, your family is that really your friends, right? When you're a teenager, and your relatives are just those people that tell you what to do. Well, I know the last thing I wanted when I was a kid was to spend time with my parents. Thankfully, I had to. I did a lot of gold mining with my father. We camped for days on the river. We worked dredging gold all day long. At sunset, I would pan out the sluice box rug, wash tub. He might give me a beer. He would drink a few beers. He couldn't see at night. He was legally blind at night. But then I'd go float the river, catch some frogs for breakfast, get up early the next morning, maybe catch a trout, have a real nice breakfast. We didn't use a campfire much. We mainly used the one of those Coleman stoves, white gas we could pump up, 2-burner Coleman stove, the old camp stove. But had ourselves some work all morning, then have to take a lunch break, eat some fried bologna, work till dusk, and do it again. We might do that for 3 to 6 days in summer. And at the time, of course, I really missed my friends. I suffered, you know, kind of loneliness. And teenagers suffer. You've all done it. But I also have memories of my dad that I mean, he's gone, and he died fairly young, and I can look back on that, and you know, it was type 2 fun. After the fact, it was awesome. It was adventure, and it was things that not everybody gets to do. So all the things he did with me made me do. We had in Louisiana, we lived there for a little bit when I was a kid, and we had an archery range way back in the woods, probably a good quarter mile back in the woods. 100-yard archery range that he built, cut everything down, he built the targets and all that stuff. And we were members of the Mosier Bowhunter Club, so we could hang out with friends and stuff. But one night when I turned 10, and it got good and dark, and we told a few ghost stories, he let me know that he had put stuck an arrow into the top of the 100-yard target, and he asked me to go get it for him. And when I say asked, of course, I mean he told me to go get his arrow, because he knew I was a little bit afraid of the dark. And he also knew that in the woods at night, especially Louisiana, there are very few things to fear. Really, 2-legged animals, meaning people, is your biggest threat. And there weren't any in this area. We lived way out in the country on a lake. Actually, we lived on Lake Vistano. For those who know Louisiana, Lake Vistano, kind of 40 miles from Shreveport. And we had actually a lakefront house, a nice A-frame, and back behind that was our archery range. And I was somewhat terrified to go get that arrow, even though I knew from dealing with him nothing was going to hurt me. It didn't help that within the first 100 yards, my big brother, 5 years older, had climbed a tree and had a garden hose up this tree and dropped the garden hose all coiled up down on my head. You know, simulating a snake, I guess. But garden hose doesn't feel like a snake. So we got a good laugh out of that. I really didn't get afraid of that. It was more kind of fun. It actually gave me some confidence to, you know, dealing with my big bro, to get back into the woods. So, by the way, when you turn here, you go through all that, and you're back on this road here, you're almost home. This is the home stretch for this trail. It's going to pop out at the whoopie-doos. If you're looking at the whoopie-doos from the parking lot, pop out on the left. Like a couple of miles. The last couple of miles. I think the trail turns there, but with all these pine needles, it's hard to tell. Earlier in the season, they were up here collecting pine needles, but I guess after, you know, this late in the season, they don't sell anymore because people are done with their gardening. Not that there aren't good pine needles, but there wouldn't be any market for them because there's quite a few needles and nobody here harvesting them. So that was a very nice slow burn. I'm gonna get a little drink. I'm gonna hit the green trail, and then we'll finish up on the blue. That's Chris and Stephanie's truck. They're just great people, y'all. If you get a chance, and I would consider it an honor to contribute to them, and I have several times. All right, let's cool off just a little, refresh our water on our body, and I'll be back in a minute. Chris and Stephanie, they were behind me on the red. They started after me. I can hear them out there ripping. So they made some pretty good time. I think they'd never been on the red before, so they've gotten to be some really good riders living up there in Wambaw. So still a little hot, but I'm gonna hit the green and then knock out the blue. Not sure whether I'll rest after the green or not. Probably will. We'll see. Because that green is just brutal on your legs. But we'll see. And got some venison stew at home and a burrito on my dashboard, or actually in the engine compartment. I love some kind of burger, cheddar cheese, burrito after a ride. It's just, my body craves it. I grew up eating burritos 5 days a week. Really just a tortilla with ground beef and heat up the microwave. In my day, I would heat it up, the burger up on the stove, and then I would burn the tortilla, you know, cook the tortilla over a burner to get it good and hot. Put the cheese down on it, and then the hot beef on top of that, and that just, you know, melted the cheese. Ah, this bike is running so good. That needle change, just leaning out the bike a little bit for summer, made a tremendous difference in how the bike feels. I mean, it was a hog. It was a hog with that winter jetted. And now it's lean, mean, summer machine. A few more rides and maybe I'll be a lean, mean summer rider. It'll take a few more. So let's get them done. Riding the mountain bike did help a lot. I don't ride bicycles that often, and I was really surprised that my legs did pretty good, but in the end, my sister went to beast mode and she dragged me and my brother-in-law up this long 9-mile climb. And I mean, there were times when I wanted to just tell her, let's stop, let's take a rest. But my brother-in-law wasn't resting. She was in crank mode, and there was no way I was going to stop. But man, I sure wanted to. By myself, I don't know, I might have stopped. She actually hasn't been on the bicycles very long. She hurt her knee when she was really young and had surgery, and really didn't do much physical activity. I mean, she just stayed thin, naturally thin, you know, walking, you know, doing her steps and all, but she really didn't want to ride a bike. Her leg would get sore, and she's 59 now, 58, and over the last 3 or 4 years, they've slowly gotten into biking. And I think before she'd been back on a bicycle, you know, for the first time since she was a kid, maybe she'd ridden 2 or 3 times. She did the same ride that we did this weekend. She just cranked it out. So she might have, you know, we did a DNA test, and I think she's got that endurance athlete gene. My wife has it too, though she claims she's never experienced it. I don't have it. I don't think. But my wife will work outside in the yard all day long. I mean, hauling brush, mowing the lawn, cutting limbs, pruning, climbing ladder. I came home, I got a weight set once delivered. I think it was a 240-pound weight set when we first got married. We were living in a little mobile home, and it was all we could afford, but we bought it. I think we paid $4,000 for it. Bought it from her brother, who moved out of that into a big, beautiful house that he had built himself. While he saved all that money by living in a trailer. Anyway, I came home from work, and I said, did my weight set come today? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, where is it? And she said, it's inside. Now, there are 4 or 5 steep stairs. You know, our trailer was up off the ground. We live here in the south where there's flooding. And she hauled that thing up those stairs. After that, we moved into a big old house, an old house, so we didn't pay a lot of money, but a big, beautiful old house. You know, we just had to do some work on it, one of those times. A beautiful old fixer-upper. A Charleston single, for those of you who know about architecture. Anyway, a single house, and the old King's Plantation caretaker house. And about 2 weeks before Christmas, I came home from work, and we had, I think 11-foot ceilings downstairs. And I came in the door, and it was also raised, you know, about 6 feet off the ground, with some stairs. There's like a 12-foot Christmas tree in there. She propped that thing up on the stairs and dragged that thing into the house. So she and my sister can definitely go into beast mode when they need to. I had to cut 1.5 foot off that tree just to put it in the living room. It was in the kitchen. Yeah. Our Charleston single was really cool. Take a box. I think it was about a 30 32 by 32 box downstairs and upstairs. A square house. Cut that thing in half across. The entire front of the house, 32 feet by 15 feet. That was living room. And the kitchen was 15 by 15 and the dining room was 15 by 15. And then upstairs it was 3 bedrooms. Big bedroom all the way across the front, 15 by 32. Had a little baby room on the side, the middle wall. But anyway, she filled up the kitchen with that Christmas tree. Y'all just keep an eye on what I do on these whoops. You'll see I'm not avoiding all of them, but I'm avoiding some of them. Just to preserve energy. I'm cheap when it comes to my energy. One benefit of that is I tend to finish fairly strong. So if I'm in a race or something, I don't get so tired by the end of the race that I can't ride the bike. The one race I have done last year at age 61, I crashed about 10 times, but those 10 times were probably 80% in the first 2 laps, 20% in the last 3 laps, 3.5 laps. I'm doing a lot of sitting though, y'all. Woo! I'll probably get tired of me talking about being out of shape. I may have to stop talking about it. Just be in shape. Or keep my mouth shut if I'm tired. Let's talk about more fun things. So let's talk about the Virginia Creeper a little bit. Virginia Creeper is the name of a railroad that was built in the 1800s through the mountains of western Virginia. And when they finally shut the railroad down, I'm not sure the date, they pulled up all the rails, all the cross tracks. Got a bug in my mouth. Put wood flooring across all the trestles, and you get to ride 40 some miles, about 40 miles, 38 miles of beautiful winding trails through the mountains with very little population and only in isolated spots. In long sections, it's just the woods. This beautiful trail crossing these incredible trestles, you know, some of them hundreds of feet above the valleys below, which is, you know, just spectacular scenery. Some of these trestles are long and curved, so they're just, I mean, it's a beautiful trail. And like I said, it's free. Pay for the gas to get there. Pay for the food that powers your legs, provided you have a bicycle. And that's all it costs, some of your time. But man, what you get back for that investment of time and energy, it's pretty priceless. In my experience, I recommend it as a bucket list activity for anyone who lives down here in the south. Anywhere from really from Florida on up to Pennsylvania. We ran into people that drove down from Indiana. I thought it was a lot farther away than it was, but I think they said it was only about a 6-hour drive. So from Indiana to that part of Virginia, that was about the same amount of time driving is me driving from Charleston, about 6 hours, to Damascus, Virginia. And then with all these Airbnbs now, we stayed at a beautiful old stone cabin. Super cozy, on private land, several acres. Up the hill behind it was a mountain and a pasture. Deer in the pasture, day and night. Apple trees, and they were producing some spectacular apples. I took a chance that they hadn't been sprayed and ate a couple. No side effects so far that I'm aware of. If there's something to eat your kidneys over the next month, we'll know what happened. I probably should have called the owner and asked. But, and a big old pile of bear dough in the yard, the pasture up the hill. So black bear, there's a black bear in that area, and he literally been right behind the house, 30 yards from the house up the hill. I put up a couple game cameras, was really hoping to see a bear, but we didn't. But we did see the evidence, clear evidence, unmistakable evidence of bear. One morning we got up early before sunrise, actually both days, but there were 6 deer in the pasture, maybe 30-40 yards away. They were getting up on their hind legs, you know, and play fighting. A couple of young bucks, a little spike buck and a button buck. Even the does were playing the young ones. It was really, really fun. They won't be long. They're going to go through the rut where the bucks will do nothing but fight with each other. But up there, the rut's a little bit later. We already got it going on starting down here fairly early. But I think it's based on the I think it's called the photometric. Anyway, I think it's the number of hours in a day, something like that. And so the rut starts later, and they have fawns later as you move north. We have a very early season down here in South Carolina, deer season, because we have so many deer. It started today, August 15th. Today is the start of deer season here in South Carolina, and it runs through January 1st. 4.5 months. I don't think deer season starts in Virginia for at least another month, but I'm not sure. I don't hunt up there, I don't live there. But my whole point is that there were still some bucks hanging out together without trying to kill each other and without trying to chase away every other buck. The way deer work is a dominant buck, he will establish a herd of does and try to keep all the other bucks away from them, so that he can breed only him with those does. I mean, they will chase, if one of their does slips away, they've got 10 does in their herd, one of their does slips away and he thinks a rival is going to get that doe, he will chase that rival, you know, sometimes miles, bring that doe back, chase that rival off. And that's why the strongest bucks are the ones that tend to get to breed, and that ensures that the very strongest of this prey species, the fastest, the strongest, the most endurance, big horns to defend itself, that's what gets passed along to the next generation. It's very important, because with a predator-prey system, it's a constant race for superiority. The predators are doing the same thing. The predators that get the fastest and the strongest with the most drive to hunt, that's able able to feed themselves and to feed their youngsters. That's the generation that survives. So it's a race. Woo! I knew somewhere in here I might hit a sweet spot of pine needles, and that was it. 10 years ago, I think the bike would have slid out from under me and I would have jumped it. Slowly develop muscle memory for the conditions in which you ride. That's why the more you ride, not only the faster you get, but most importantly, probably, the more able you are to recover when you get out of shape. Remember at the beginning when you first tried to ride a bike? I remember in '72 when I rode my first decent sized bike on a trail in Louisiana, 10 years old. Riding a little too fast, not making the corner, no muscle memory to pull the clutch in, let off the clutch. Just going straight instead of making the corner and crashing through the woods, falling over, getting all scratched up and getting chiggers. You know, you get older, you get muscle memory and your body, little built-in program. Pull that clutch in, hit that rear brake, feather the front brake, lean the bike, hit the gas, make the turn. All that. Whoa. Okay. I don't think this is the original trail. Maybe it is. I guess it is. Let's see. Anyway. That stuff comes through repetition. You know, create that muscle memory. Last time I was here, I crashed pretty good. Made the turn at the bottom of this hill, started going up the hill. On the other side, I had changed my suspension. Got a little sloppy. I was already a little tired. Got out of shape over whoop-de-doo. And I was worried about hitting a tree. Fell over, knocked my camera right off my helmet. Looking all over, you know, didn't realize it, so I was talking, you know, to the crowd. Woo! A lot of fun, crazy crash, blah blah. And realized, oh, I have no camera. But thankfully was able to find it in just a couple of minutes. I'm not sure I posted that video or not. I really should. Every crash is a good lesson on what not to do. Yeah, so I was flying up this hill. I hadn't been on it in a while. I was doing a lot of sitting because I was tired. And some pretty decent views here. I hit a little stump in the middle of and it bounced my rear tire to the side. And I landed in the tree. It was my last loop of the day. I sped up because I'm competitive, even at 62. And I went a little too fast for the conditions, my conditions, and the trail conditions. Thankfully, I'm covered head to toe in armor all the time. Didn't get hurt. I also tend to hold on to the bike when I crash, so I don't tend to get wrist injuries. You know, wrist injury and collarbone are probably the two most common dirt bike injuries, severe injury, especially if you wear knee braces. I guess ACL, popping an ACL is another one, but you wear knee braces and you don't dab, keep your feet on the pegs, which my dad, when we rode a mini bike, he put his feet on the ground. You were off that mini bike because he didn't want to buy shoes. He's like, you are not going to wear out your soles just to ride this mini bike. You will keep your feet on the pegs. Or out in front, you know, around the corner. Boy, got a little lost here. But anyway, remember on a YZ at slow speed, it will drive right over a 8 to 12 inch log. You don't have to do anything. Just stand up and drive over it. The bike will pop up. High speed, now that could be a little different story, right? You could end up going over the bars or a flying W or something. But low speed, that front wheel will come right up over it. Give it a little gas right when you get to it, just to get it unweighted. It'll go right over it. You don't have to do anything special at all. Oh, I was saying about injuries. So, one of my idols, I was first exposed to motocross with Ricky Carmichael, right? I mean, I'd seen it when I was younger, but really didn't think about it much. But when Ricky Carmichael was riding, I was more aware. I think I was an adult by that time even. I wasn't riding dirt bikes anymore, but I really enjoyed watching motocross at that time. And he and James Stewart, they don't let go of the bike. The bike starts to bounce around, the bike's going to crash and whoop-de-doos. They're holding on. They're giving it gas. Well, if you come down with the bike, you know, say it bounces sideways, and you don't let go, holding on to your handlebars, you tend to not get hurt. I just saw a deer. You don't hurt you're not landing on your hands, so your wrists don't break. You're not landing on your arms outstretched in front of you, so your collarbone doesn't break. You just kind of collapse sideways. If you do go over the bars, right, you're also not landing on your hands. You end up kind of doing a front flip, land back on your feet. I watched what they did, and I'm not sure if I tried to do this or if I'm just naturally one of those people that holds on. If I crash, I don't tend to let go until the bike's on the ground. Whew. Took a branch right to the mouth, about twice the size of a pencil. Pop my lip a little bit, but you know, take that same branch to the eye. That could be a big deal. All right, a couple miles to go now, and it's burrito time. And then when I get home, I got venison stew after a couple hour drive. Can't wait for that too. Open field to go across. Oh, funny. I have not seen a lot of rabbits since the coyotes arrived over the last 20 years or so. But I think they're starting to adjust to one another. Now, I talked about that predator-prey constant battle. One of the things that we do, I can't think of what it's called, prey swamping, something like that. It's where a prey animal, all of the prey animals, just by natural selection, will start to have their young close to the same week, maybe even the same day in some prey animals. What that does is it puts out way too many young animals, which are very vulnerable, right, to predators. It puts out way more more of those than the predators can possibly eat. So the predators eat very well for a short time, but then the youngsters, they get fast enough or stealthy enough, capable enough to hide or outrun the prey species. You'll even see the predators start to have babies synchronized with the prey, because that's when the predators need the most energy, right, is when they have babies, when they have young. So they'll all synchronize their birthing process. So when predators need the most food, when they have young prey that can't, young predators that can't feed themselves, that's when you have an abundance of prey animals to feed those. And then as their young get more capable and get to where they can start hunting on their own, right, that happens about the time that the prey animals will also get to where they can take care of themselves, lower their chances of being taken by predators. I'm not sure if the term is swamping, but essentially the synchronization of birthing by a set of prey animals, prey species. So if all the deer give birth within 1 week of each other, only so many baby deer coyotes can eat. And then those deer, within a couple of weeks, maybe less, get fast enough to run away, a combination of running and hiding, to reduce their chances of being taken by a coyote. It's very, it works. You don't even need genetics for this so much. I mean, you don't need genetic mutations for this to happen. A certain number of prey animals are going to have their babies at a certain time based on their genes. The ones that don't are more likely to be eaten. So there's more prey animals that have their babies at the same time that survive. It's really just a matter of survival, not of the fittest, you know, using the abstract term, but the most fit for those conditions. And what is the fitness? Not necessarily strength or stealth or speed. It's whatever characteristics enable them to have young that live to reproduce. Whatever it is. Think about modern dogs. Modern dogs, I mean, the golden retriever is one of the most successful dogs. He's not stronger or faster than a wolf. Woo. That rear end stood right out on that sandy edge. Anyway, the golden retriever couldn't possibly compete with a wolf. But humans breed them because they like their characteristics. So a golden retriever is fit for its environment. It's more fit than almost any dog because people like them. They're happy to breed them, make more. People make money. You know, golden retriever prices have gone through the roof. That's another selection factor that makes more golden retrievers. You can make money off of breeding them and having puppies themselves. So just remember, when you're thinking about fitness, survival of the fittest, the term, what it really means is characteristics that fit into the environment where the animal lives, in which the animal is more likely to produce offspring make 100 puppies, and just found a way to do it. You know, the puppies were the size of Chihuahuas, the dog was like the size of a Mastiff, and we could have 100 puppies. Well, that's 100 different puppies introduced into the population. You might think, well, with so many puppies, then they're going to flood the market. They're going to be nothing but these Mastiff Chihuahuas. But that dog has to feed, that parent has to feed all 100 of those puppies. And she's only got like, what is it, six nipples, something like that, 8 at the most. So a lot of those puppies are going to die because they can't get fed. But if she has 6 puppies and they can all be fed, and they can all grow up to be good hunters, and they're all the size of Mastiffs, so they can hunt everything from rabbits on up, they might have a pretty good chance of surviving to get old enough to then reproduce themselves. By doing that, you take 6 puppies and you make 36 puppies. Each puppy has 6 babies when they grow up. I'm a little tired. I hope my math is right. This sand. If you've never ridden sand, you owe it to yourself to get out here and just ride around in this sand. Explore what it takes. What makes it work. Go out and go again. Beast mode. Woo! Going again, huh? Beast mode.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I don't think I ever turned on my camera.
No way.
Is it running?
It's running now.
Oh, okay. I guess I did.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna turn it off.
What do you say, everybody? That was a good ride. Manchester, conditions at Manchester were kind of dry. A lot of whoop-de-doos and a lot of hard work. Manchester is working man's trails, that's for sure. I went ahead and rode the red and the green and the blue. I took a little break between the red and the green because it was just so hot. Put a little more water on my hair and on my armor to cool off. But what was really cool was that Chris and Stephanie were there, and that was really great to see them. This is Chris and Stephanie from Wambaw, the folks who take care of Wambaws. Put so much time and effort into fixing up those trails. Let's talk about that. They are down to about $2,500 to reach their goal for buying equipment. They are likely going to get matching grants from Yamaha if they can reach that goal. They told me, and I absolutely believe them based on what they've been doing for the last 6 or 7 years, if they had their equipment at Wambaw today, they would have gone out and groomed some of the trail today. I mean, at Manchester, excuse me, Manchester. Manchester is notoriously neglected. It will go 5 years or more with absolutely no grooming at all by the you know, it's a state forest, so they don't have the funding that a national forest will have. So there's just nothing that happens there. The people that ride that trail are the ones that clear all the trees, fix the trails, and if we want to add people with equipment who would actually smooth out the whoop-de-doos and just make it a little more fun to ride, Chris and Stephanie will do that. So look, think of all the people they pulled out of the woods with broken legs, broken wrists, ran out of gas, broken ribs, lost their keys, whatever it is. There's tons of people that they pulled out in the middle of the night. I had an event in Wambaw where a guy was chasing a girl through the forest. She was terrified. Thankfully, I was armed, and I kept that guy there as an armed citizen until the sheriff arrived, which was a crazy event. Maybe one day I'll talk about it. First people I called was Chris and Stephanie. They were driving back, like on a 14-hour drive from working in another state, miles and miles away. But they called the authorities and helped guide them to where we were, because they know the trails so well. They know the names of those roads. I didn't know the names of the dirt roads back in there where I was. I knew how to tell them where I was, and they knew how to tell the sheriff where I was. Wow, somebody hit that road sign. Maybe a crane took out that road sign. Woo! Anyway, so these are people who care and who do the work, who've helped so many people, including me. Please donate. If you've said you're going to do it and you don't do it, I mean, it's on you. Keep your promises. If you said you're going to donate, donate. It takes 5 minutes or less. Go to Facebook, look up Wambaw Trail Riders, and there'll be a link to their charity. And just give a few bucks. Give $5, $10, $50, $500. I tell you what, I will match anybody who gives $500. I will match that. Anybody gives $500 to Chris and Stephanie, and Chris and Stephanie, y'all let me know, I will match that. Okay? Now, I'm not rich. I believe in this cause, and I have some, I'm 62 years old, so I've made a little money in my life. But I believe in it, and I believe in supporting people who support us. So I hope you do too. Once again, Manchester was a rough day at the office, but a lot of fun. And I hope you get time to get out there and enjoy it as well. Manchester closes, remember, September 15th for deer season. It's only open on Sunday, September 15th till January 2nd. So that's going to cut down our riding areas to 2. And then December 31st, I believe it is, Enoree closes down. So at any given time for the next several months, we're going to have 2 places to ride in the entire state as far as state or national forests go, except way over there, on the far side of the state. So anyway, donate to this cause. Like my video, please. Subscribe if you want to get updated every time I post a new one. Get out in the woods and stay safe and have a good time. Donate to Chris and Stephanie, please. And somebody out there with some money, donate $500 and I'll match you. All right, take care. Love you guys. Bye.